know, right? He's giving me some advice. We're getting ready to get the flu shot, and he's like, scream. No, I'm kidding. So if you have not received your flu shot this year, now is the time to do so. November is when flu activity really increases. Joining me now this morning, Dr. Patrick Bianchi with American Family Care, and Shelby Smallwood, who's going to give the flu shots this morning. All right, we have Mel waiting in the wings because we're both going to get it and the reason we do that, of course, good morning to you, is to show people that it's not as bad as you might think it is. But before we do that, Doc, I'd like to talk a little bit about, there is actually a new flu vaccine that's being marketed specifically to one particular age group. 65 and older, more effective. It's called the quadrivalent flu vaccine because they actually have 4 antigenic strains that's much more effective than the lesser vaccine. And the reason that that's so important is because the elderly can get really, really sick if they get the flu, correct?
Exactly.
Is that why it's being marketed to that older group?
Exactly.
I'm not trying to call a 65-year-old, which is my parents, elderly, by the way, but I'm referring to those who are older than that before my mother calls me and I get into trouble. All right. We also know, Doc, that the nasal flu mist is now not being offered anymore. It just wasn't as effective.
Exactly.
Well, and that was decided by the American Academy of Pediatrics, so it's not just for children, but for everyone?
Right.
Okay.
The quadrivalent vaccine is available for anyone over 3 years old.
And the quadrivalent, meaning it has 4 strains?
It has 4 antigenic strains that are identified to come to the United States this year.
You know, it's interesting because I think that people forget, because we are really started entering the flu season last month. I think people forget how easy it is for the flu to be spread. Let's talk a little bit about that. It's not, I mean, you have to think about door handles, kids when they go to school, but I didn't realize when you sneeze.
When you sneeze, the flu particles go into the air, you breathe them in, and then you're going to get sick. It's a horrible illness to have. You have high fever, you feel awful for a couple days, so it's much better just to get the flu shot. Also, if you haven't had the flu shot and you know that you're around somebody with the flu, the medicine Tamiflu will cut the chance of you getting the flu about 90%. So even if you haven't had your shot, if you're around a group of people that do have the flu, go see your doctor and get on the Tamiflu so you don't miss a couple days due to the flu.
Yeah, and you have to think, when you're talking about being around, I mean, you're talking about the flu can be spread like 6 feet away if somebody sneezes or coughs, so keep that in mind, certainly, because it's important information. Let's talk a little bit more about symptoms. You had mentioned a high fever, for example. I mean, I remember I got the flu, I think it was last year. I mean, you are down and out. And even if the experts were not fantastic about figuring out the strains this year, at the very least getting the flu vaccine how does it help diminish, you know, the symptoms that you get should you end up getting it?
Well, that's a great question. So the way it works is the quadrivalent vaccine, the experts identify which are the 4 major flu strains expected to hit the United States. And so by getting the shot, what happens is it raises your own natural immunity with antibodies, so that if you are around somebody with the flu, you're much more likely not to get the flu.
So, and that's an important reminder also. Even if you think that you're, you know, really good about washing your hands and sneezing in your armpit, the reality is if you come into contact, go ahead and get it just to diminish. And Mel, we're going to bring you in. No, Mel's like, I'm not so sure. We both agreed. And part of this is, and the reason we're doing this is the needles are not as thick. You know, it's not a terribly painful process, and it's worth it considering, I think we've all had the flu at some point, and how terrible you feel, and you can put people in the hospital if you're not careful. So if you'll walk us through a little bit, what's Mel getting, and then eventually I'll get it after.
I'll let Shelly, let me talk you through.
She doesn't have a microphone on, so if you'll,
Okay, so Shelly has the vaccine in the needle. She's first going to...
Do I want to sit? Yeah. Why?
She's afraid.
No, I'm fine. No, I did this last year. It's fine. I'm being dramatic. Now, you did suggest that I do my left arm because I'm right-handed.
She's right-handed. Okay. Just in case there is a side effect. The major side effects, or the most common one, would just be pain and swelling at the site of the injection. Okay. Some people do get a mild flu-like illness where they get like myalgias or some pain or even a low-grade fever, but that's just your body's natural reaction to the vaccine.
Okay, how was it?
Can I give you a hug? That was amazing.
Tiny bit,
no, I didn't.
right?
Yeah, just because the initial impact of it.
Yes, and I think part of it is you're waiting for that needle, like, is it coming, is it coming, is it coming, and then you get it, and it's not bad. The other thing that I do want to kind of, Mark, hi, and Rance, hey, good morning. And you heard about
here? There's donuts for us?
Donuts with flu shot.
What's this?
All right, so Mark and Rance obviously are from River City Live. All right, these are the tough boys, okay? So they're going to get one, and while they're getting theirs, yes, now you have shots. Doc, just let's remind everyone, there is a myth that somehow by getting the flu shot is giving you the flu.
The symptoms that you have, you got to remember, it's your own body's natural reaction to the antigen that we're putting in. The flu that's in this syringe is actually deactivated. It's not alive, and your body does create an antibody response. Sometimes it creates what we call a large local reaction. Sometimes you actually have a flu-like illness with a mild fever, mild myalgia.
But it's not the flu.
But that's not the flu. Okay. That's your body's reaction.
I didn't even feel that.
How was that?
That was the best one I've ever
had. Yeah, you didn't?
Yeah, I'm like, honestly, did you do it? Is this like the TV thing?
And you were kind of looking in that area, but you know what? You're very good about not showing it. Okay, Rance is next, and then I know that, well,
good luck, buddy.
So where are you offering, where are you located? And obviously you're offering the flu shot.
We're at American Family Care. In our office in Jacksonville is near Atlantic Beach, near the Intercoastal Waterway.
Perfect. And you give to obviously not just adults but also children if for some reason they can't get down to their pediatrician?
Exactly.
Okay, 3 and older. And if children are 6 months and younger, they should not get the flu shot. Is that right? Am I remembering that when my kids are young?
Under 6 months.
Under 6 months.
That's the rule.
Okay.
And also, just to let you know, American Family Care is for Veterans Day, American Family Care is giving free flu shots to any veteran tomorrow.
Okay, so free flu shots to any veteran tomorrow. Remember that, and we'll get that on posted on newsforjax.com as well. How was it, Rance? Easy. All right, you see? Okay, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate it. See, men and women, kids, do not worry. Thank you again for being here. Do appreciate it. Of course, for the latest health news and to watch this interview again, you can go to our website, newsforjax.com. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Do appreciate it.